It's me, Sony. Welcome back to another VR video. Today, I'm in something pretty special. This is the first time I've been working quite a bit on the hybrid presence system, and this is the first time I'm going to release some of the actual physics-based stuff. Now, I've noticed the frame rate's not perfect while recording, so hopefully this will work out quite well. I don't know how well the physics works on very low frame rates, but it should perfectly work fine. But what I've done in this video, firstly, let's have a read through of the menu and just get the calibration step done, and then I can explain the rest while we're in game. So a little bit of a change on the controllers. This thing should detect the correct controllers for what you're using. Any SteamVR based equipment will show Vive controllers. Hopefully they should be aligned correctly, but it doesn't matter what you're using, it will show Vive on that. I'll sort that out later on, don't worry. So welcome to the Hybrid Presence SPIDERIINI sample. Yeah, I called it that just because it sort of suits the tiny character model that I'm using in general. So just whatever name I came up with, basically. Stand straight, press the menu, calibrate the head height. Arm length will be added in the system later on, so I'm not actually detecting the arm length. As usual, touch the ground, press the button, and you're done. Right, usual stuff. Grips for shooting the rope, and triggers to grip walls. Why? Because we are running around as SPIDERIINI. So you can see here, I'm a character, a full character model this time. There's no physics on the body, and I am working on the IK interactions so that the actual body will rotate and stuff a little bit better before I release this. This should be released with this video, but a few updates will be happening to the actual code before I actually put the game up itself. So obviously you can physically run around and stuff, and you can see that the elbows actually move a little bit wobbly. I'm working a little bit on that, but right now I just wanted them quite weak because this is the hybrid presence system on the arms only. So you can see here, the hands completely collide with the wall along with the elbows themselves. You can see here, pretty closely replicating my tracking as well. So you can see when I move my hand across the edge there, you can see it actually leans over the edge there. Of course, you can grab the walls and climb them, because this is a Spiderman type thing, and I just jumped away from it. So you can see here, and of course you can actually shoot a webbing as well. So let's have a look at that. Now there's no sounds in this demo, although I was going to do that. It's taken quite a little bit of time to actually get this thing working. But you can see here, the way this works is a little bit different to a typical Spider-Man game. So what's happening here is the actual joints for the ropes are actually hitting the hands themselves. They're actually connected to the hands instead of the body. So there's actually physics joints on the ropes connected to the hand, which is connected to the arm, which is connected to the actual body. So you can see here, of course, when I go close to the actual wall, you can see I can hit off the wall like that. So let me just get close to the, there you go, I can knock on the wall. And of course I can use this to actually swing myself around as well. There is a little bit of footwork. I'm going to work on that before the release. But yeah, while you're grabbing the wall, he kind of clamps on. You can see here, he sort of clamps on there. And of course, you can swing around and stuff. So here is actually what's really cool when you use this system is you can see the difference here when you climb really close to a ledge and you put your hand over it. And you can see the way that your arm completely folds around the ledge, around the edge, and then you climb up and of course you stand on top. It's really pretty cool the way that interacts. It really gives you a sense of presence, and that goes for going around the corners as well. You can see here the arm completely wraps around, and of course you can't just go through like that. You can't just go through and grab it from there. You have to go around and physically grab it around the edge like that. It really makes a difference to the way you move in VR. And of course, like that, and climb over the top. And of course, you can do that without actually grabbing on. So let's have a show of that. Up we go. You can see the elbow does have a little bit of problems sometimes, but that's okay. You can see here, if I put my hand over and then let go, I can actually slide down while having my hand over the top. And that's sort of how it works quite well. And you can see here as well, the foot tracking as well another thing that I'm just working on, it's sort of in demo phase right now, but you can see it doesn't actually clamp onto the wall until there is a wall there to clamp onto, and then he's actually stuck to it, and then as you drop, he sort of releases his feet. Whew. Let's see a little bit more before I go swinging crazy around the world. And that's in this little gap that I mistakenly made. So just placing the buildings and stuff, I actually accidentally made a gap here between the buildings. This is not supposed to be here, as you can see. That's not supposed to be there. But it did give me a chance to show off a little bit more. So if we climb up there first, and now we're going to drop down, and instead of actually gripping onto the walls, because you can see when I grip, it's an instant grab. It actually gets me stuck to the wall. Spider-Man style. Right. But when I actually drop down there, I'm actually just going to push my hands out like so. And you can see it actually slowed me down. And that's actually happening because of the physics. It's really cool. If we drop in like this and then just, you can see I actually get slowed down and actually stop because my hands are pushing on the wall. And of course that would be something you'd be able to do without the sort of Spider-Man-like scenario. Well, anyways, let's have a run of this. I did make a few changes to the actual locomotion system, which I shall probably show off here as well. And that is that it allows for a proper speed system now, depending on the game that I'm making. So if we climb up here and show you, you can see that when I push the analog, I'm moving at a standard, very, very slow speed, less than walking speed, natural human being walking speed. If I walk properly in my walking swaying system, you can see I get that sort of standard human speed of a walk. Pretty standard stuff. You can see the animation is pretty much a walk. But when I run, you can see I get some pretty high speed. And I can change that completely to whatever I want. And that's just using a simple mathematical power, as in the sort of mathematical function for power, which allows you to have this sort of much higher speed running while still having a controlled walk speed that's very natural to a human being. So it's pretty cool. It allows me to completely just sort of make any type of game that I want. What just happened there? Hopefully there's nothing going on my screen. Nothing there? Nothing that I can see anyway. Let's have a good run through of this quite large-ish area that I've just sort of made out of these randomly shaped buildings that I made. I really like this. And of course you can just sort of grab 2 points and pull yourself through the center. You can see a little bit of problems with the elbows all the time. Let's do some corner climbing. And you can see here the feet actually switch between the walls depending on where we're climbing. Let me try and get the camera down quite low, because what I see in the actual headset, the FOV is much higher than what you see on screen. And you can see, of course, I can just shoot over the top as usual. Let's go over to those cranes there. I'm gonna have to. Yeah, no sound effects yet, so that means I'm gonna be making a lot of them myself while I play. Now there's another thing going on here as well. Because this is entirely a physics-based system, I can grab onto physics objects. So you can see this here boulder is clearly, well, it's not really a boulder, but it's a sphere anyway, is clearly a physics object. In fact, if we grab onto a wall and then grab that, you can see my hand is clearly far from my actual physics, my tracking hand, and you can see it's clearly a physics object. But it's more than just that, because we can grab onto it and we can stand on it as well as it moves, which is really cool because it's entirely a physics-based system, meaning that everything you do is part of the engine. It's part of the standard sort of physics engine. All the sort of interactions that you get are completely realistic or somewhat accurate to real-world physics, which is really cool. Anyways, that's pretty much all the sort of stuff that I've got for you. And of course, this demo will be released. Pretty simple stuff, but it gives you a chance to play around with some of the basic systems for the hybrid presence. And of course, this is just arms with a little bit of problems with the elbows, but it's just arms anyway. You can see there's still some issues with the wrist action as well. I'm going to sort that out anyway. That's just purely a visual thing. But yeah, for those of you who don't really have any VR to try this out, I'm just going to keep making these sort of videos quite longish, just to have a go running through. And you can see here, I can just push off the floor there, or I can just actually grip it and climb over. Now there's no actual sort of zipline type stuff going on in this system. So when I do this and pull, that's entirely just me forcing the physics to sort of pull me forward. There's no special system that allows me to actually shoot pull like that. I'm just sort of figuring out where is the most appropriate place to actually physically do that. Of course, you can just use both points to sort of push yourself into an expected direction. And that's pretty much the whole video, really. I'm just going to do a little bit more, because I really have probably spent quite a few hours testing this. Not for the sake of testing, but mainly for the sake of actual fun. So of course you can just shoot that and like climb along the wall. Now I am using a little bit of analog stick motion while I'm in air. It gives you a little bit more control. It gives you quite a lot of control actually, over moving around while you're on the walls there. And you can see here, you can see the difference when I'm gripping onto things. And that's that. I think that's pretty much the whole thing going on here. So I'll probably wrap this video up. If you want to play this, go ahead and download it on itch.io. Thanks very much for watching. I'll be releasing a little bit more soon. And I've got something else that's not presence-based stuff coming up as well, which is VR. Hopefully working on a little bit of multiplayer and get that going on as well. So thanks very much for watching, and that's the end of this video. Goodbye!